Well, today we are going to make this, I would say, elegant holiday cake for the dolls. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this project is. All right, since this is just a display cake, not a sliced cake, although I will say as I start this, I am hoping at this point anyway to come back and do this cake as a sliced cake later on. This cake, I got a new magazine in the mail the other day, and as soon as I took the magazine out of my mailbox and saw the cover, I thought, this is a miniature cake project we have to do. I hope I can do it justice, and if this turns out, we're going to make it as a sliced cake in a future project. I don't know when we'll get to it, but we will do it. So I've got my original Sculpey, because since it is just a display cake, not a sliced cake, we just need to make that core so that we can build on it. And I'm rolling it out flat with my acrylic roller, and I have my set of double craft sticks to make sure my surface of clay will be level. I have my 3/4 inch round cutter, and this couldn't be simpler. This cake is a very tall, very large bakery style cake. It's actually, I may make this in real life too because it looks that good. It's a red velvet cake inside that has 3 layers that are split to make 6 total layers, and it is gorgeous. But the outside is really pretty, so I think it'll be a really cool looking display cake for the dollhouse, for either to serve at your dollhouse, in your dollhouse kitchen, or for a mini bakery. And I've been playing with the idea of making a mini bakery on the channel in the future. So I cut 3 of those, put them together. Now since this is raw clay to raw clay, we don't need to have any liquid clay on this layer. And we are going to bake this. And since it is so thick, I'm going to bake this for about 30 minutes at the recommended temperature for the clay. And then it has to cool to room temperature before we can move on to the next step. So I will be back when this is baked and cooled. All right, my clay is baked and cooled. I want to show you the clay I'm going to mix, and then off camera I'm going to get this conditioned and mixed together. So what I have is some white clay. This happens to be Primo white, and some translucent Sculpey. And I'm going to mix these together, not to make this more translucent per se, but because I want to make it softer so that I can get it to do exactly what I want on the outside of this cake. So I'm going to get these two work together, but this is probably not quite half as much, between 1/3 and half the amount of this. Like I said, not enough to make it really translucent, just enough to make it softened. So when I get this mixed together, oh, and softened but not so gooey that it gets when we add liquid clay to it. That's why I'm doing it this way. So I'm going to get these mixed together. When I get them thoroughly mixed, I'll be back and we'll put the frosting layer on our cake. All right, my clay is thoroughly conditioned and combined, and hopefully no streaking and no odd colored spots throughout my clay. So now I have my pair of single layer craft sticks. I'm going to attempt to stay under camera. It's hard because I'm working on kind of a small area. This is kind of tricky because I want to make sure I have it thin enough that it won't add too much bulk to my cake, but thick enough I can do the design that I want to do on the top of the cake. Use your knife, your clay knife running kind of flat with this tray. There we go. Now I have my cake, and I have some liquid clay. Start with liquid clay just on the top. Whoops, now that I've got this on here. So hopefully I won't stick my fingers in too much liquid clay. We have to use the liquid clay because it acts as a glue, but too much liquid clay and our clay is not going to stay put. It's going to get gummy and wet and hard to work with. So I'm going just as much as I need to spread over pretty much the surface. All right, now. We're going to start cutting the excess clay off. Now, if this gets too sticky and I can't work with it, I will put it in the freezer for a few minutes so that I can get this nice and smooth. I think I've got that. Now I'm going to get some cornstarch on my fingers. I have my tub of cornstarch here. That's just cornstarch like you use in the kitchen. I have a container that I have filled with cornstarch that I keep right on my clay table because cornstarch will allow me to not have my fingers stick and allow me to kind of buff out fingerprints and things like that. And I'm just going to use my fingers. So I am going to turn the camera off and I'm going to fiddle with this for the next several minutes, whoops, and get it nice and smooth as I possibly can. When that is accomplished, I will come back and we'll start decorating the top of this before we bake it. All right, I've got the clay as smooth as I can and I've used my toothpick and made a dot right where I hope the center is. I've got a larger ball tool and I'm not sure which ball tool I'm going to want. I think this one might be too, yeah, it's going to be too big. Let's go with this guy. The real cake has these beautiful swirls in the icing on the top. I'm hoping this is going to do it justice. Cornstarch, rotate this. I'm not sure how well this is going to show up on camera. All right, now I'm going to fuss with those marks a little bit. It's showing up somewhat. I'm going to fuss with those just a little bit more off camera. Then I'm going to bake this for probably 15 minutes. I want to make sure that that liquid clay is cured and everything is cured all the way through. Then once this is baked and cooled, we're going to add the remaining decoration to it. So I'll be back in a second. All right, our cake is baked and cooled to room temperature. Now we're going to add our decoration to it. And I'm going to use these little micro beads. Now, these are the ones I normally use, and they're bigger. These I got, I think, at the dollar store a couple of years ago in their nail art section. I think it was in some of those are in those little tiny bottles. And I put some on. These are the ones I normally use. And these are the ones I'm using today. And I don't know if the camera's picking up. They're about a third or a half, maybe the size of the ones I normally use. Either will work. I just decided I like the color of these better, and I like the fact they're smaller. Now I'm going to put them in here to keep them corralled. I'm going to back you guys up just a little more. Hope I can stay on the camera. Can I do this? That's not going to work. I'm going to do it on here. So I've got a container here that's got a dip in it. And I'm going to put some of these out on this container, and they will get out on the table. I'm going to lose some, but hopefully not too many. Now on this container, I have some satin Mod Podge, and it has been sitting here for a few minutes, so it's got a skin on it. It's thickened up a little bit. I'm under camera. And I'm going to run a very narrow bead of Mod Podge all the way around my cake. And if it goes up a little bit, that's fine. Now the reason I didn't do this with liquid clay and bake the beads is they're so small, and I don't know if they're plastic or glass. I think they're probably plastic. And I don't know, as small as they are, if they would have melted. Now if you have red art sand, that would also work. I don't like glitter for things like this. I don't think glitter is a good option because I don't think it looks realistic at all. These look like little cake decorations. All right, so I've got a bead of Mod Podge all the way around. I tried this off camera with another cake to make sure it was going to work, and when I put those back in, I picked up some stuff, it looks like. Now I'm just going to just dip that Mod Podge into those little tiny beads. I missed a spot. And if you miss a big area, you can always go back later and add a little more Mod Podge. And touch up the areas that you missed. I suspect that was the spot I stuck my thumb in a minute ago, or my finger in a minute ago. I'm going to see if I can add a little more Mod Podge. Right there. And right there. Okay, got little beads going everywhere. Just kind of work around, be patient with yourself. One more spot that I've totally missed. And I expect that some of these, once the glue is dry, the Mod Podge is dried, and I brush them, some of the extra thickness of these are going to go away. And that's kind of what I want. All right, I'm going to let that glue dry, and when that is completely dry, I'll come back. I'll use a funnel to get these back into my little bag, so I've got them left for next time. When this is all dry, I'll come back and we'll look at our finished cake. All right, here is our cake, and kind of rubbing my finger over it. There's not a lot of the extra pieces coming off, but while it's not an exact copy of the cake I saw on the cover of my magazine, it, I think, replicates it very, very nicely. It's just kind of an elegant, Christmassy holiday cake that you could serve, your dolls could serve in the kitchen, or like I said, or in a miniature bakery. Be sure and check the blog post for more photos. I'll have more details over there. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Leave me a comment. What kinds of things would you like to see in future videos? If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, I encourage you, hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up my next video. Thank you very much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.